Hey, good morning, good morning. Okay. This is Chris with StreamCatcher Society. I had to turn off the fan. Ooh, I got a big, hold on just a second. Darn it. I have audio going on too. Give me just a minute. Still learning how to do this stuff with one hand. Or actually two hands, but one person. Okay. There we go. Now I have proper audio. Good morning, good morning, good morning, wherever you are, Meativerse. My name is Chris Tome. I'm with StreamCatcher Society. Please pardon the rough start there. I am still working on getting all of my digits, some muscle memory with some of this stuff, and still hooking up some different items to the studio. It's been a lot of fun doing it all. Been stressful sometimes and a lot of work, but I'm definitely enjoying learning all the new cameras and new tools and everything else. And I'm blessed to be able to do that. So we're just going to kind of dive in today and talk about a few things. Right now the show is kind of a free form, more of a free form kind of thing. And we're just talking and chatting, and we're going to have interviews with people in the Web3 and crypto space and NFTs and art and all that kind of stuff moving forward. We want to get the best content we can for you, but we're really just kind of introducing ourselves and hanging out and seeing what happens. So we do have somebody in the live chat. I don't know who it is, but hello. I'm going to turn off my interstitial thing here so you can see me. Yay. Okay. And we're going to get started today with maybe just a little bit of news and kind of cover what's been going on the last week or so with us and with the whole industry in general. And of course, the big news of the week is that Elon Musk bought Twitter officially. He came walking in with the kitchen sink. So that tells you what he plans to do with Twitter, which is pretty much everything. A lot of people are complaining about the $8 a month, the possibility of KYCing. The deal is it's now his network, so we'll see what happens. He's talking about making an X app, which is kind of like a WhatsApp, or I'm sorry, a WeChat that you'd find over in China, which kind of does everything for the Chinese people. It's also a social credit score app, so we need to be careful of that and hold our tech overlords' feet to the fire when it comes to our freedoms and our rights. And again, I welcome any competition from any startups, any companies out there who think they have a Twitter killer or a YouTube killer. I wish them absolutely the best, and we'd be willing to promote them and talk about them if they're a serious venture. Unfortunately, I think that a lot of people don't realize the kind of infrastructure and money and that kind of thing it takes to actually build something like Twitter or YouTube. But I am all for competition. So anytime that we can have more competition, that's good. And if Elon, stays with the free speech kind of mantra that he's been on, if he's serious about that, and if he offers real value, he could tokenize Twitter. He could make it so that you could stake Twitter tokens and actually make your money back. There's any number of different ways that he could do, like YouTube live chats where you make money on chat and that kind of thing. He could do that with Spaces. The sky is the limit, really. Use your imagination, and I'm sure he's got a pretty good one too. So I'm not too worried about it currently. And again, I don't think he's going to buy something for $44 billion and wreck it. So I think he's listening, and I think he's thinking about everything that he needs to do. And time will tell. We'll see what happens. As far as the crypto space in general, Doge has pumped a little bit. I was actually kind of surprised about that. Let me take my watch off here so I don't scratch my MacBook Pro. And we will go ahead and take a look real quick at some of the crypto prices just to kind of see where things are. I know that I was very surprised yesterday when I checked on the Doge price and it was 13 cents. And I was like, wow, because I don't even want to tell you where we got in on some of it at. But Dogecoin was definitely pumping a little bit. And if we see here, I'm trying to look, let's see if we've got, let's go ahead and switch us over. There we go. Okay, so we've got Bitcoin is at 20,311 as of today, which is November the 3rd at 11:06 a.m. Eastern time. We have Ethereum at 1551. It's been going up and down, between the 1,400 and 1,600 ranges for, a week or two, losing 5%, gaining 5%. People move a lot of money, I believe, and are able to affect the markets like that. Maybe later. Thank you very much. Okay, so we go over to here. Come on, give me my zoomy thing. Okay, so we go to here, and we'll zoom in a little bit. So BNB is at 329.40. Tether, of course, being a stable coin, is at $1. This is USD coin. Ripple XRP is 45 cents, 45.7. Doge here's 0.1308. So look at Doge real quick. People are talking about Dogecoin, Elon potentially using Dogecoin as some kind of currency in Twitter and that kind of thing. And anything's possible, of course. But one of the things that I don't necessarily believe is going to be the case is using Dogecoin exactly for Twitter, because there's no real cap on Dogecoin. It is the ultimate meme coin in some respects. So if we look at the price action here, ooh, that is a heck of a chart, isn't it? Okay, so we've got, that's the 1 day chart, and then we'll go over here to our 1 month, and we can see it's risen quite a bit. I mean, we played with 6 for a long time, for a long time, playing with about 6 cents. And then as you can see here, we're on the 25th, we start getting a rise, and we go up all the way to the 1st of 14. So we hit 14 cents on the 1st, 14.69. And then now we're back down to 13. So 13.08. Very interesting. I'm sure that it is pumping in part based on that. So take a look at that. And everything is connected. That's the thing. Excuse me. Everything is connected. There are, from commodities and gold and silver, believe it or not, and palladium and platinum and commodities, orange juice, think about the trading places, Eddie Murphy. I mean, orange juice futures. All of these things matter. The things that matter in the world that are real, that matter, affect everything else. So you've got real assets, real money, real gold, real silver. You've got fiat currencies. You've got the stock market. You've got all the speculation going on there. Then you've got cryptocurrency, where you've got people saying we can do money better, and maybe some are. But you've got the whole system is absolutely connected. So when you have an effect in one, when you have 75 basis points raised by the Fed, you're going to get movement. Now, one of the things that didn't move actually with the 75 point jump was Bitcoin. It really wasn't affected all that much, and neither was Ethereum. So that's interesting, which means that maybe people are considering, well, if they're going to take more of my money away, I'm going to take my money and I'm going to put it into this money. And that may be the case. So I'd love to hear people's comments and opinions about that. That is there. And then I keep on saying I need to bookmark these crypto news sites because I really haven't found any good ones that really pop out to me. So let's go ahead and just do crypto news in Google. So we got divisions. Decentralized storage solution. Arweave's native token surges 60%. Now, that's interesting. Because we talk a lot in Twitter Spaces and different things about decentralization and decentralized storage and that kind of thing. And I was just saying to somebody yesterday, I believe, that Dropbox is in effect a decentralized storage solution because they have servers all over the world. They rent server capacity, whatever it may be. I don't know what their entire network topology looks like, but they cache files, they move things around, they make it more easier for if you live in one country to be able to get your files. So when you look at cloud services, cloud storage services, and things like that, I don't see any reason why they couldn't easily, become decentralized and potentially, offer the same kinds of services as these other companies like IPFS and Arweave are doing. And really, that's one of the things when you buy an NFT. I mean, it should kind of come with a guarantee, like, hey, this this NFT cloud storage has been paid for 20 years or whatever it is. Because again, when you buy the NFT, you're buying the hash on the blockchain. It's the receipt, it's the provenance, it's the metadata that points to where the image lives and all that kind of thing. So it's something interesting to take under consideration. And I think some blockchain developers actually are. I keep on saying I'm looking at Theta Network. I need to look a little deeper into them, but they're looking interesting. So let's see. AR, the native token of blockchain-based data storage solution Arweave, surged as Facebook and Instagram's parent company Meta said it will utilize the Web3 platform to archive their creators' digital collectibles. Very interesting. So Arweave, it must have been big enough and strong enough to attract Meta's attention and say that Meta was going to partner with them to do some storage solutions. So that's a win. That's a big win for them. It's jumped more than 60% from 10.5 to 16.6 in the past 24 hours. And, these are the kind of moves that, these aren't pump and dumps, in my opinion. I mean, anything can happen, of course. But you've got a company that's been working hard on, decentralized cloud storage. They're doing evidently a good enough job to get Meta's attention. And if you invested in them, you've gotten a nice little return in that regard. And I was actually wanting to get into a little bit more of Arweave and look into them because IPFS, it's fine, but I was looking at Arweave and some of the other stuff, but I wanted to look a little deeper, and this is really good news for them. So it allows users to retain information forever. Now, forever is a big word. Okay, AR allows them to retain the information forever. The data, once entered, cannot be altered. Users need to purchase the storage space by paying the AR token. So again, we have to look into that, but the idea that your data would be permanently minted to a blockchain, the data itself along with the NFT, the NFT lives somewhere else, excuse me. Your actual data, video file, image, whatever, would be minted, to their cloud decentralized database and permanently put there. And the one thing I just don't understand is how you can say forever. I mean, am I paying a fee? Like, for example, I've done lifetime memberships occasionally, which, nothing that I've ever sat there and gone, oh, good, I've got this for the lifetime of everything. No, it doesn't work that way. But I have bought some lifetime memberships, and I realized that, it's for the lifetime of the company, for the lifetime of how long they decide to support the product. Any number of things can happen to make that lifetime purchase not lifetime. So when you tell me that you're going to store my information forever for like one fee, and I'm not saying that's what Arweave does. Well, actually, let's go ahead and look them up just real quick. I have, like I said, looked at them before. Stored data permanently. We can browse the wiki. Definitely not going high end on their graphics here. But yeah, claim a token. And what is Arweave? Profit sharing communities technology. So this is definitely something to check out. Arweave is, we should probably do a whole show on them, maybe even get them in and talk to them about this, because storage is a big deal. The fact that we are buying these NFTs and everybody, I honestly wonder how many people out there look at their NFTs and see the NFT in their wallet and actually understand that what they bought is a digital hash that represents that image. So anything can happen to that image, and I've used this not analogy, but this example before, where I heard when all of this stuff started coming out about abandoning abandoning the secondary sales, abandoning secondary sales commissions for artists. So the 10% or the 5% or whatever you set, a lot of people were, I guess pretty much from the time it started, a lot of people were not happy about that. And some people had actually started to create marketplaces, I had heard, or created one or two or something, that were allowing them to strip somehow the smart contract data that would enable that payment and sell it, without a royalty on the secondary. So there was somebody that I had heard that actually had built into the smart contract that if something like that was done or altered, that the image would then display a big black box instead of the actual image. And that brings up, to me, that brings up all kinds of issues of legality, of ownership, of, what have you bought? What have you been provided with? So there's a lot to still figure out in this space. And there is a lot that has not been determined both legally, through case law, through things like that. There's just a lot of stuff that has not been determined. And it's a bit more of a mess, in my opinion, than the whole Web 2 space was in San Francisco in the 90s. And that was crazy. That was insane. So, so Arweave is it's a digital storage, cloud storage, decentralized cloud storage service that you can store your files and content on. And I have heard good things about it, so we'll check that out at some point. So that is Arweave and Meta are getting together, which is interesting. And again, look, Meta, Facebook, Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, all of it. But the people, man, there's some amazing people working at Meta. There's some amazing AR and VR people and just coders and blockchain developers. I mean, they've definitely been throwing a ton of money at things, and that includes buying up people. So they've got a lot of people working there that are very smart. So I do expect a lot of interesting things to come out of Meta. I'm just not thrilled about the company that it's attached to. So, okay, crypto news. Dash 2 trade pre-sale just confirmed. Litecoin price prediction. Litecoin up 10%. Well, that's good. I mine Litecoin. Let's see here. Get rid of that. Litecoin price prediction. Litecoin up 10% as $1.8 billion trading volume floods in. See? From where? Who? Let's see. Oh, can't get that. All right. So at the time of writing, Litecoin is trading just above 60, a zone that has served as resistance on several occasions before. Yeah, tell me about it. Litecoin is interesting. It's what people call the digital silver. As to Bitcoin, it would be the digital gold. It is one of the oldest cryptos out there besides Bitcoin. And a lot of people are very bullish on it. The way I feel about cryptocurrencies right now, the whole field technologically and everything is very interesting, and I'm into the technology, and I look into it, and I look at transactions per second, and I look at how network configurations are set up, and I look at proof of work versus proof of stake and all these different things. And I see no clear winners at this point. Of course, Ethereum is absolutely embedded. You've got a huge amount of money in it. You've got people developing dApps with it. Solidity is a major language for this. There are some things that don't seem like they would, go away, and they absolutely could, but they probably won't. And there's a lot of other things that may not be around in 2, 3, 5 years. Quite a few that won't. But Litecoin, a lot of people are pretty bullish on it and have been for a long time. I mine I dual mine right now with Litecoin and Dogecoin. It's a script miner, just two little baby Doge miners. No big deal. And I was mining Ethereum, of course, before it went to proof of stake. And now those graphics cards have been repurposed for AI art machines. So pulled them out and put a couple, one in one and one in the other. And I'm going to actually be selling some cards on our eBay site soon. I've got some mining cards that are brand new, and I've got some the 3070, of course, that I've used for about a year. And we'll be selling those, and I'll be getting me a 4090, hopefully. And we'll be doing some really cool AI stuff with Dream Booth and animation and all kinds of stuff. You really need some horsepower to make some of that stuff happen. And, you can rent the horsepower from places like Lambda and other things. You can rent GPU cycles and computing time, which, that is another interesting aspect of how we deal with things from a content creation standpoint. Content creators for so many years were so used to having to rely on only themselves for rendering, computing power and capacity, storage, things like that. And with a lot of the tools that are out there, that are coming out, that are already out there, I'm thinking of, there's the one I was just playing with. Oh, Lord, and I'm not going to remember the name. It's a real, .ml, runwayml.com. There's a lot of tools that, are web-based, or you download an app, but it's not that huge, and you're storing all of your video files on cloud storage, or you can even render 3D animations and different things using render farms. So the potential, the potential for you to take these two items, a MacBook Pro and an iPhone, and run a full-blown business from them and a production studio, you could potentially do that. Now, I'm not saying, get rid of all your big stuff, get rid of your drives, and, don't render at home. And no, that's never not going to happen. But there are aspects of this that kind of reduce the need, if you do certain production pipelines and workflows, that reduce the need for you to actually have a lot of hardware in-house. And some of the GPU renting services out there, they have networks of GPUs hooked up and that you can rent at minutes and hours on. Those are great for doing things like AI art. There's other ones like Beeple has, Mike Winkleman has teamed up with a couple other people to make Render, RNDR. That's actually a token, and you can buy it and you can render 3D scenes through their network. So there's a lot of things that you can do online now that previously were not, you weren't able to do. And that's not necessarily, blockchain or Web3 technology, but it's just the way things have gone with cloud services, with SaaS, with some of the AI stuff really being, powerful enough to run, kind of remote client server kind of thing. And it's just really interesting the way things are going with technology and what you can do with very little locally, because you can actually access a lot of this stuff over the internet if you have a decent connection. So, okay, let's go back to our crypto news, because this site, is this the one? Oh, this is CoinDesk, right? Yeah, CoinDesk is good. I keep forgetting about CoinDesk. The currency of innovation. Boy, that's a big banner. Can you please stop that? Thank you. Okay, digital asset platform Bakkt agrees to buy Apex Crypto for up to $200 million. Again, one of the things that people, it's very hard to see sometimes is that in a bear market, people still do deals. They still make money. Business still goes on. It's much more difficult. It definitely favors the big players over the little ones, but business does still go on. So India's crypto and Web3 industry forms a new advocacy body. India is huge on crypto. I know that. There's a lot of Indians out in the Twitter spaces and different things. They hold groups and spaces all the time. Definitely crypto is gaining a lot of traction over there. Dapper Labs cuts 22% of staff as NFT market creators. I love headline writing. Okay. As NFT market creators. Let's see. One of the biggest names in the non-fungible token industry is dramatically reducing its headcount as the crypto bear market continues to take a toll on Web3 companies. Dapper Labs, which created the NFT marketplace NBA Top Shot, announced today that it, jeez, I hate these badly designed responsive websites, that it did 22% of its staff, cutting 22% of its staff, citing the macroeconomic environment. Those reductions are the last thing we want to do, but they are necessary, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, you've got staff reductions. And again, business, you have to be smart. I don't think Crypto.com was too smart about dumping $140 million into buying the Staples Center for 20 years. Everybody was all excited about it. But when I saw it, I was like, oh, geez, that's not forward thinking. You have to plan. You have to have backups for your backups and really think things through. Let's see. There really isn't too much. It's just more about investing and different things. The NFT space itself has been extremely slow in the networks that matter, Twitter, for example. And again, this is one of those things where Elon could have come in and said, hands off the keyboards, lock down the servers, I'm going to rip it apart right now. And, brought in a team and said, I'm going to do this. And that may be why Twitter, seems like it's a lot lonelier for the last week. But there's a lot, there's always a lot going on. And I think that because of the bear market, because of the way that the economy is around the world and a lot of people suffering, unfortunately, I'm very blessed. We are very blessed to be able to say that we have a roof over our head, we have food and clean water, and we are not at war. And that is something that I'm very, very grateful for. And to the other people out there who cannot say that, we do pray for you, and we hope that you are better off in your situation very soon. hopefully it will change for the better. Things always do change. Things get better, things get worse. But you just have to plow through and keep going. I know that personally I've been through a lot of things in my life where I could have easily stopped and just said, oh, screw this, I'm done. And for whatever reason, I'm not talking about killing myself, but any kind of adversity you run into or things you run into, sometimes they can be so bad that it makes you want to give up. And the only thing I would say about that is that if you give up, you'll never find out what could have been. And what could have been is pretty darn exciting. And if you keep working hard and you keep plugging away at it and you keep getting better and you keep on wanting more for yourself, I think you're destined to succeed ultimately in one way or the other, depending on what your vision of success is. So that's the crypto space for now. Discord, of course, we started our server mostly to communicate and chat with people privately. We're building up our community as we go along. We're building up our fine art website, doing some promos. This is our little bouncing skull guy. Say hello. He's 1987. He's 25 years old this year. So excited about that. But we're not going to dump a Discord server open and say, hey, there's a Discord server, because there's about 3 billion of those. And, we value your time more than that. We want to create areas and venues and events and things that really draw people. And we don't want to just start something and expect people to come in and give us their time for no reason. So Discord we're playing around with. We wanted to go over real quick to Twitter. Let's see what the Twitter bots are doing. So this is our Twitter feed. And there's still a lot of people plugging along, working hard. There are everything from the Bored Apes, Yuga Labs under investigation, to people copying the Bored Apes, to unique original artworks, and much more. I do enjoy very much talking to all of the artists, creators, technologists, business people out there who are doing great things in this space. And I do believe that as we move forward, we will all have much more opportunities presented to us. But currently it's a bit of a rough patch. And I just want to encourage people to stick with it. Things always change. It's always darkest before the dawn, right? So, but yeah, we've got a lot of great people on here. We're going to be setting up some interviews and doing some more specific shows about specific technologies, about wallets. Not so much onboarding. I think that if you're looking for onboarding advice and how do I get into crypto, what do I buy, that kind of thing, we're going to kind of stay away from the really basic stuff, because we're going to assume, and that's a dangerous word, I know, we're going to assume that you have a little bit better knowledge of the space than that. And even, that's the thing. All I'm saying is that maybe you have a wallet already and you bought some crypto and you know how it basically works, because even the best of us, I'm having a heck of a time right now. One of the problems that you'll run into if you play around in the space a lot is that you wind up having a bunch of wallets. So I have at least 3 main wallets where I have a bunch of different NFTs, and I move crypto back and forth. And, of course, because crypto's tanked, and, I've actually had to even put a little money in to buy some things and move some stuff around. I've had this terrible time of getting what OpenSea wants in the form of Polygon to just pay a fee to list something. And I've put it in the wallet I knew in MetaMask, and I tried to put it in the Polygon network, and that didn't take. I should probably actually check it, because I did it last night in frustration. I mean, it can be very frustrating even for the most technically savvy people. Some of these things can really be frustrating because why? They're broken. They are absolutely friggin' broken. I mean, I guess one of the things, you hear old people, and I'm older, I know, I'm 53, God forbid that you should listen to somebody over 40. But one of the things that you see with old people that they do, and they're like, get off my lawn, I'm bitching about everything sucks. And I definitely don't want to be that guy. But there's a lot of truth to that, because when you start to see things break down, when you start to see things in society or business or whatever break down, and you see them happen over a long period of time, gradually, It's something that only if you've gone through it and you're older can you understand, can you see it? So we have so many examples of how customer service has gotten worse in the last 40 years, of how database, I mean, look at the Death Star, AT&T. I mean, horrible, horrible experience with them. I've been with them for 12 years. I mean, it's hard to get out, everybody knows how hard it is to get off a carrier. Oh, just switch your number. Yeah, right, whatever. But I had a horrible experience with them, and they lie. They don't, their databases don't talk to each other. The business doesn't talk to fan. They can't offer you different plans if you don't want to jump from this to that. When I went to the business website to try and order a new iPhone 14 Pro Max and a watch, I couldn't even do it. I couldn't even get it. The configuration that the website had was not allowing me to buy things. I mean, come on, people. And that's one of the things that you need to hold people to a higher standard. With just the way everything works in this space, with the lack of sandbox wallets, with the lack of the ability to deny something coming into your wallet, or the lack of ability to properly throw it away, merging wallets, merging things. You have an easier time of merging your credit card bills and debt into one than you would doing that with your NFTs or anything else. And then there's, of course, hard wallets like Ledger. We've got a Trezor Model T, which seems to not be popular at all. I don't know why, but we bought one and have yet to pull it out of the box. Let me just see if we're... Yeah, so we have a Trezor Model T, new in package, that we have not opened yet. And just the amount of time it takes. I mean, I am sitting there in MetaMask trying to set this up so I can sell a couple of items that I thought I had basically been rugged on, that supposedly are selling for like 2 ETH now, and I can't even get the transaction to work. I'm not dumb, and I just want Polygon in the Matic network. And I've tried to send it and receive it. And in fact, let me, make sure, because I don't want to talk out of turn here, but let's see if it actually went over to the Polygon network. It's just, when you find areas of frustration and then these areas aren't your fault, there's no excuse for it, because I'll be able to figure it out. I'll find somebody, I'll ask some questions, I'll, do some Google searches. It might take me hours to do that, which, I mean, come on, hours for a transaction? I'm an artist, I'm a business person. I need to get stuff done. This is ridiculous. And you have this problem all over the place with the crypto and Web3 space, where things are just automatically broken because of the way they were made. The way they were thought of and conceived, and they need to be unbroken before, and that's what's that's what's going to happen. I mean, one of the things that rich people and the people in power had learned a long time ago is that they're able to sit back and watch and let little people build things and let them innovate and let them fail and let them succeed and find what happens and then absorb everything. That's what they do. They absorb everything. So you're not going to have a lot of people winning from the actual technology they helped to build, because whether they crash the market or whatever it is, they're going to come in and they're going to swoop up that technology when the time is right, and they're going to fix it. They're going to be the Metas and the Apples and the Adidas and the other companies that are working, Warner Brothers, that are working towards this stuff, and they're going to introduce things that actually work because they have to. That's their business model, is delivering things that work for you, whether it's a movie or whatever it is. If it doesn't work for you, they don't make money. So the space is broken. There's a lot of people in the space who do not know what they're doing, and there's a lot of people in the space who do know what they're doing, and finding out the difference can be very difficult sometimes. So I'm pretty good at sniffing that kind of stuff out. Let's see what else is happening in the NFT space of interest. See 2 people in live chat. Welcome, peoples. And yeah, so let's, I guess, get into we'll take a look. I guess we'll just start talking about some business stuff. We've had, an interesting week of some different business things happening, some things that I can't legally talk about, but I thought we'd talk about business and contracts and partnerships and percentages and that kind of thing a little bit, and what it is you need to do in order to protect yourself and protect the person that you're wanting to go into business with in whatever way, shape, and form. So there's any level of kind of partnerships that you would have in a business. If we go down to the, one of the simplest levels in this space in particular, you're looking at, say, a collaboration, okay, between two artists. And usually, well, not usually, but in the case of, say, Foundation, I know that Foundation offers the ability to jointly do a collaboration and then split the profits from the sale equally, and under the smart contract and under their legal frameworks of the company that they are, and they've set it up properly because they have to. That would be a legally binding contract, and you would enter into it with this person and split the revenue, and it would be automatic and no problem. And then you have situations where you go in and you try to work with somebody on any other level, where you're spending time and effort and energy and money. Things need to be in writing, period. End of story. And I go back, I've said it in this in a video before, but this was a perfect example, and I can't show this. Can't show that letter, but this is a perfect example of why contracts are important. This was IC 3D Magazine, a one-hit wonder that came out at SIGGRAPH 2001. And very proud of what we did, but it was very taxing. It took, we had 3 weeks basically to make the entire magazine before we had to get it to the printer so that we could make the deadline for SIGGRAPH. And when I was originally approached by the person who approached me, everything was fine. I was, I was the best in the world. We wanted you on board forever. All this stuff. We're gonna give you whatever you need, but we need this done fast. We need this done in 3 months is what we've got, and it takes 2 months for the printers. You got a month. And I was like, whew, okay. So I wrote up a contract, and we both signed it, and then I got to work. And after 3 weeks with 2 other people, I built the magazine out, got the files to the printer, passed out for 3 days afterwards, thought I was going to die, but I got it done. And then this person proceeded to bend me over and do things to me in every possible way he could. And what I want you to understand is that not only did I not know or expect the insanity that was about to ensue, but if I didn't have that contract, if I did not have that signed document stating clearly what it was that we both owned, what it was that we both were expecting out of it, percentages, salaries, whatever was in that document, that was what was set in stone. And because of what happened, I had to sue the person. We settled out of court for more money than I had asked for. And I got my life back. And honestly, if I hadn't, let me tell you, this was a month. Well, actually, this was happening during 9/11. Okay, so it was happening, as 9/11 was happening. This was before and directly after that, and also was the same time I was having my first kid with my wife, my daughter. So to say it was a little stressful would be an understatement of biblical proportions. And when this happened, if I didn't have the contract, we probably would have been homeless. I'm not trying to exaggerate, or, we probably would have been homeless on the streets of San Francisco. It would have been extremely bad. And the thing about a contract is that it's a good thing to have for both parties. It keeps both people honest if there's any possibility of that not happening to begin with. And that's another factor entirely about, who you partner with and the due diligence you do on that. The background, research, different things. And you're going to have a situation come up where you're going to trust somebody, and that person is going to then do something that makes you lose trust in them. Well, without a contract, you're screwed, and I've done this before in my life, and I've done it fairly recently where, you cult of personality, whatever, you get comfortable with someone, you start to build with them, and then you realize down the road that they're not interested in sharing intellectual property or anything else. They just want you to be the artist, which is funny, and you have to cut it off. But if you had a contract and you had that signed initially, and you started a business and you protected yourself, and we'll talk about that in a second, then everybody's protected, right? And then you can move on, and everybody knows what is going on. So if you ever get resistance to signing deals, letters of intent, contract, one of the things that I would say is also, as well as extremely important, is that when you look at doing business, when you look at dealing with business, especially as an artist, it can be very, very difficult. I'm very jealous of some artists, not jealous, but I have a little bit of jealousy sometimes at artists who are very, very right brain, who they just crank out artwork like nobody's business. They do photoreal sketches, whatever. They're very right brain, and they generally tend to be not very left brain. I'm a little bit of both. I'm kind of that person that I cross hemispheres a lot. I do a lot of left brain and right brain stuff. I'm really good at both, but I'm not the best artist in the world. And I'm not the best business person in the world. I'm a good blend of both. And I have learned through hard knocks, through experience, through different things, that contracts and businesses and different things have to be run like the big boys run them, except be nice, right? Don't be a jerk. Don't tell people you're going to do something and then do something else. Respect other people's work and intellectual property. If you develop with them, something, respect their ownership in it. But then also, if you hire somebody, make sure that that's clear as well. That you only want this out of them. You're not expecting anything else. And don't make them. Anyway, so going towards businesses and contracts and things like that. The other thing too that you want to do is you want to make sure that whatever let's say you go and you have a company and you're going to go out and strike a partnership with somebody to do a project. I hate that word in this context, in this space, because really what most people mean when they say project is they mean business, right? They're making a business, they're building a business. And the way companies protect themselves, when you form a corporation, you are forming a corporate personhood. Now, again, this is all, DYOR. This is not financial advice. Please do your own research. I'm telling you from experience, from different things that have happened to me, just in, how to protect yourself and how to think about business. When you look at the big businesses and how they do things, with the exception of treating their people like crap, you really should do what they do. You should, a shell company. People say, "Oh, shell company. That sounds ominous." Well, no, it's not at all. It's just a shell company. It would be a company that is inside another company or spun off to do something else. But when you start a business with someone and you're doing something specific and you're doing a specific project, you are marrying that person. In a lot of ways, you're hitching wagons together. You're going down the trail together, and you're going to be spending a lot of time with that person, professionally, possibly personally. Excuse me. Those are things that you have to consider as you're moving forward. I'm going to be spending a lot of time with these people, and I'm going to be doing a lot of work together. And anything that we do together in that business, anything can happen. The person, whether it's malicious intent or not, the person could die. Any number of things could happen. If your business isn't separate if that business isn't separate from your business and their business, if it isn't a separate entity, people can come back at you. They can come back and sue your business. They can come back and take your possessions. Legal protections are there, and they're called that for a reason. They are legal protections. So it's not with the intent that you go in that you're going to defraud somebody or shut the business down. My Lord, I would hope not, because if you spend it's like the people that go out and defraud people and run these rug pulls and stuff. They do so much work, they might as well just do the real thing. So you can't just keep everything together under one roof, especially when you're bringing another group or organization into your company to do a project or another business with a spinoff, whatever, joint venture. Those kinds of things really need to be compartmentalized into their own thing. And if you're serious about this, if you want to make $1 million, if you want to, have 5 people working on the business and do all that, treat it like a business. it's $500 to form an LLC, somewhere around there. It could be cheaper if you do it all by yourself. It's not that hard to protect yourself, to protect the other person. And when you write a contract, contracts aren't even all that hard. When, lawyers, oh God, lawyers, they're great when you need them, right? But they're horrible most times. Most lawyers make a lot of busy work for themselves. They write things that help write new laws to make more work for themselves. They will, they'll bill you into perpetuity. They'll talk to you forever as long as they're billing you, So lawyers make a lot of busy work. They say a lot of things in legal documents that would never hold up in a court of law. Just because a lawyer says something doesn't necessarily make it gospel truth. And all that said, there are tons of different contracts out there online that you can look at, that you can kind of crib from a little bit. I wouldn't say steal from, but take and manipulate and turn into your own. Whenever you do a business deal, I would highly recommend that you do contact a lawyer. We do, and put our stuff through a legal filter every time. But even if you don't do that, the common sense, and again, this is not business specific advice for you. I'm just saying the common sense approach is when you write a contract, you put down every possible detail you can think of, and with the merchandising involved and the revenue splits and whatever it might be. And you have to be as clear and concise as you can be and say, and use certain legal nomenclature, and you can read about it. If you're not good at it, definitely get a lawyer to help you. But the basics of a contract, when I wrote the contract for IC3D that I wrote, I'm a writer, but I'm not a lawyer. In fact, my lawyer asked me if I was when he contacted me after he read it and said he would hire me in a heartbeat if I was. But I'm not a lawyer, and I wrote this contract with good intent and good faith. There was no, I'm going to screw you out of anything in this contract. It was very straightforward, but it was detailed. I think it was about 5 or 6 pages, something like that. And it laid out the different rights and responsibilities, what I was being paid, any ownership of files, data, things like that. Just try and cover the bases as best you can. And then you include some clause about arbitration. You usually do it in the state that you reside in, potentially do it in the state that your partner resides in, something like that. A lot of contracts, if they are well thought out and they are well done, and they're not necessarily done by a lawyer, if they're generally amenable to both parties, the language is clear, they can be, they're legal documents. They are legally, admissible in court. And so you put in, like I said, I think I said you put in arbitration in there, so you don't necessarily have to go to court at first. There's a couple other different things that you can look at about contract law, but this protects everyone, and you should never, of course, sign a contract that, is not beneficial to you or not advantageous to you in some way, of course. But anything, a letter of intent, a contract, should be pretty straightforward and clear in what it wants. And then you should be able either to agree on it or, need to edit it or back and forth. But it helps out in so many ways. Not only does it protect you, not only does it protect you and your personal assets and your other businesses, if you have them, it protects your partner as well. It legally, guides both of you and, keeps you on that track of what it is you're supposed to do. But it's also a really good definer. Hey, these are the rules. This is clearly laid out. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what you're supposed to do. Those things are important because sometimes, down the road, it's like, oh, well, I wasn't supposed to do that. Yeah, you were, because it's in the contract over here. So everything needs to be discussed, outlined, talked about. If you meet somebody online and you have a really good rapport with them, don't just invite them to come live on your property. If they don't have a house and they're like, oh, I'm a marketer and I can help you. And, you need to really think about things like that. The choices that you make have repercussions that last a long, long, long time. So I would say that when you're dealing with contracts, when you're developing things, when you're working with people online and live spaces and different things like that, respect the process, respect what's going on, respect the truth of the thing, and do the best you can to make sure that everybody is properly dealt with and compensated. And again, you're going to have different types of businesses out there. Excuse me. You're going to have some businesses out there that are going to want to hire you solely for work for hire, like as a content creator, as an artist. So they may say, we want to give you a certain amount of money for this piece of artwork, and then we're going to own it, or video or piece of music. And although that's anathema, to the Web3 space and sharing and royalties and all that other stuff, it does happen, and it will continue to happen into perpetuity. Why? Because there's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of artists and not that many jobs. So whenever you have more artists than there are work, or more whatever than there is whatever, you're going to have an imbalance. The imbalance is that, none of us as artists, I don't think none of us are paid what we're worth. I mean, well, maybe people is, but very few of us are really paid what we're worth if we take it down to like an hourly, because all the things we learn and the time we spend and the iterations we do that we never talk about, or, oh, I'm embarrassed to even bill for that hour, whatever it might be. We definitely work a lot harder than our pocketbooks seem to reflect sometimes. So anytime you're dealing with contracts, I mean, we're going to be doing a number of things. We're going to have some contests where you can win some cool prizes. We're going to do a 20 art card project where we're doing this great thing. We're going to bring 20 artists in and do some really cool art cards, metal and foil and holograms and things like that. We're going to do some cool stuff with that. We've got, of course, Project M2 in the works, and that's a longer term thing, 6 to 8 months to a year even. We're not sure, but we're going to let the market decide when we're ready to a certain degree, but we have a lot to build in the meantime as well. And thankfully, we're blessed to be able to build that as we go ahead. You have to shut off your right brain. Your right brain, in business, your right brain is going to tell you, oh, that person's great. Oh, I love that person. Let's go into business with them. That's no problem. They everything they've said is perfect. It's trust and what. And you could work for months with them, talk to them, have everything fine, and when it comes down to brass tacks and you ask them to sign something, they say no. I don't want to share. This is my IP. What do you do? Right? Well, there's any number of things you can do, and we do them, but you can walk away. You can. There's always that option, but you're out 3 months of work, you're out, tremendous stress, hassle, time, whatever it may be. You're not happy about it, but you didn't have the contract signed. So, right? Even then, you may still have recourse. If somebody screws you over and it's a public screw over, there's ways and methods and things you can do, especially if you've documented things and gone along the path. But again, that is why contracts are so important. It keeps everybody honest. It keeps everybody above board. And honestly, if you're going into, a project with somebody and to start a business, to do whatever it might be, and they're not totally excited about, getting on board and signing a contract and getting going and putting the, things down on paper that really matter, that should automatically throw up red flags. And if they make up excuses like, well, my timeframes aren't yours or this or that, if you're not rushing them and if you're doing what needs to be done and you say, well, I just want you to sign this letter of intent, and they won't, there you go. There are still people out there who are going to try to take advantage of you for their own gains, and there's nothing you can do about it unless you have a contract. And even then, sometimes you get screwed over, but you have to protect yourself, and you have to do what the big boys do. When Disney, for example, launched their Disney Incubator program, it should have, been called the Disney Facehugger program or something, because it's a shell company, right? So Disney starts a shell company, Disney Incubator Program. They're LLC, and they have 49 businesses under them, 49 other LLCs. They're protected, they're compartmentalized, but what they do is when they incubate programs, projects and things, businesses they like, and they see what they see, they just absorb them. So, but that's their own business, and that's a separate, even though it's under the Disney brand and everything else, it's a separate entity from Disney. And if anything was to happen to that particular part of Disney, they could potentially shut it down or walk away from it, or any number of things. If it was sued, it wouldn't be, the Disney Corporation generally wouldn't be sued. It would be just that company. It does provide protections for you moving down the road. It also provides protections for bankruptcy and having to dissolve companies or selling them. That's another big one right there. You are going to hit a serious wall if you decide that you're going to sell your business. So let's say you partner with somebody, you got everything going, everything's going great, and you got no contract, and you're just plugging away. The fact that you've got no business set up, that you've got no partnership locked in stone, percentages, all that stuff, an LLC, it's going to make it that much harder to find people who want to buy it to begin with. But if you did find somebody who would buy it, they'd be wondering why the hell you didn't do all this stuff to begin with, and what exactly are they buying? And they may still buy it, but it's making it harder on yourself, right? You don't want to make things harder on yourself down the road. So contracts, separating things out, making sure that you know explicitly what the other person wants and what you want, making sure to communicate that well, signing letters of intent, signing contracts, making people accountable, right? That's what it's about. You have to make people accountable. Do what you say you're going to do, because if you don't, it's right here, and I'm going to take you to court. And it's not you. That's not the way you, of course, go into partnerships. You know, I'll do this, or I'm going to take you to court. But everybody understands that. You know, it's kind of like a deadline. You know, there's a lot of people work on or really well on deadlines, and they are able to pace themselves, and they do this and this, and they know that, you know, if I have 13 days to do this, I need this day to do this and this day. And then some people wait until the last second and do it, and some people have a mix of both. It really all depends, but you're not going to be able to properly protect yourself in business unless you do it right. So that includes contracts, LLCs, you know, when you form the partnerships, when you split off a business, those kinds of things are critically important to do. So let's see. I wanted to talk about, well, communication too. Communication is can be very difficult. Some people are great communicators with very few words. Some people need a lot of words to communicate. One of the issues that I have with the way society has gone lately in the last 20 years or so is that we kind of take words and twist their meanings and twist their definitions. So a lot of times when you'll be talking to someone and you say partner, they might be thinking something totally different. They might be thinking like, oh, partner means you're going to be my friend and work for me, and I'm going to pay you a flat percentage, but I'm not going to give you any ownership because, you know, we're partners, right? Any number of things can happen. Clarity is where, you know, the devil's in the details, right? Ooh, I don't like that, but clarity is what you need. You need clarity of conversation, of communication, of writing, understanding between the two parties of exactly what's going on, and, you know, 10 parties, whatever, of exactly what's going on. And you need to make sure that you are protected as well as everyone else. And I cannot stress how important that is in business moving forward. So we've had an interesting week. We are retargeting, repositioning. Another thing too is that when it comes to business and being smart about things, you definitely don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, right? You don't want to, hold on just a second. Excuse me, I needed a drink there. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. You don't want to have everything riding on this one project or things like that. Sometimes you have to. I mean, sometimes you're doing the big thing and you know, this is it, this is my moonshot, and you do it, and that's fine. But if you're in business and you're, you know, making a living, I mean, a lot of artists out here that I'm talking to are doing art part-time because they're not, for whatever reason, able to pay the bills, you know, fully with their artwork. So they were working other jobs, whether it's HVAC or even art related or whatever. They're doing other things, and maybe their art, their fine art or their personal artwork is, you know, a side hustle, things like that. But they love to make it, you know, full time. We have a lot of things in this space that need to be fixed and helped and worked on, and we are definitely there to do that. We want to make sure to give you a little bit of both, you know, some of the business, some of the art, and communication, and all of those different things are so important today. There's so much miscommunication that we really need to make sure that we're communicating what we want properly to people. Again, our week, my wife, if anybody is interested, my wife is doing fine. We went to the doctor and we're going to have a CAT scan done, and she's going to be okay, I'm sure. So I'm grateful for that, thankful for that. And we are going to be getting back next week with some longer form shows and some art how-tos and different things. We're also going to have probably a couple of guests coming up, and I am working on some interesting non-live content that I'm going to be posting to YouTube as well. I think we're going to probably shut it down for today. We're going about an hour. I appreciate everybody who did show up. Again, I would just say that when it comes to business and it comes to relationships, you can be as friendly as you want with someone, but you have to put it in writing. You have to get it in writing. Every situation, of course, is going to be different. But I would say that there's, I used to do work on spec, and I think a lot of artists know what that is. I will never, ever again do work on spec. And you may have to go as an artist for 20 or 30 years of your life as a designer or whatever doing that before you realize that, that's not good. But I'm telling you right now, don't do work on spec. It's not a good idea. When you do work for free, that's what the expectation is. It's kind of like when people are out here, when artists are out here selling their artwork on Tezos for 1 and 2 Tez. Maybe some of it's worth that. Maybe some of it's worth less than that. But some of the art out there is definitely worth more than that. And it's diluting, in a way, it can be diluting the whole art marketplace, right? Because, if I have an expectation of getting this thing for $2, why should I pay $200 for this? We all need to think about each other, think about ourselves, think about the business that we're in, think about how we can help one another and build each other up. And we're excited to see what the future holds. We're going to do more long-form conversation type stuff here. I want to definitely get some more voices on here. Just hearing myself talk for 3 hours, I don't think anybody wants that, including me. So we're going to definitely get some more interesting guests and things on there. Any ideas for shows that you guys have, any questions you have, I would love to know what they are, and we will definitely try to cover them. The crypto and NFT and metaverse and Web3 and decentralized space, whatever you want to call it, is fascinating and interesting and moving at light speed. And there's a ton of crap, but there's also a lot of great stuff. And we're going to be looking for the best and highlighting it and amplifying it and illuminating it for you. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in today to StreamCatcher Society. Again, we'll have a lot more content coming soon, and we want to hear back from you on what you want to hear and see and how we can help you as an art and design community, as business people, as technologists, to make this whole world a better place. Thanks again for tuning in, everybody. Appreciate it. God bless and have a great day.